The elevator doors hadn't even closed behind her before Effie Dawes realized she'd made a terrible mistake. Her reflection stared back from the polished chrome walls, work uniform wrinkled, mascara slightly smudged from the morning rush, cheap flats that squeaked against marble floors now silent on plush carpeting. She didn't belong here. Not on the 63rd floor of Wayne Tower, where the air smelled like money and power, and something else she couldn't name. Fear, maybe. Or consequence. The wallet burned against her palm, through her canvas tote bag. She could still leave. Press the button. Go back down. Mail the damn thing, and forget she ever found it wedged between the cracked vinyl seats of Booth 7 at Shirley's Cafe, where she'd been slinging coffee and eggs for 6 years and would probably die slinging coffee and eggs unless a miracle happened. This wasn't a miracle. This was stupidity. Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here for this story. It's one that's going to take you on an emotional roller coaster you won't believe. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing our global family come together. And listen, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button right now. You don't want to miss how this unfolds. Trust me. Are you subscribed yet? If not, do it now. You'll thank me later. Now, back to Effie. The elevator chimed. A soft, expensive sound that made her stomach drop. 63rd floor. Executive level. The doors whispered open. A woman stood directly in front of her. Tailored charcoal suit. Blonde hair scraped back, so tight it could have been a facelift, eyes like chips of ice. She didn't smile, didn't blink. Name, she said. Not asked. Commanded.
Effie.
Effie Dawes. Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. She straightened her spine. I'm here to return something to Mr. Wayne. I found his. You're not on the appointment list. I don't have an appointment. I just need 2 minutes to... Mr. Wayne doesn't take walk-ins. The woman's finger moved towards something on her wrist, a security alert, probably. You need to leave.
Now.
Effie's jaw tightened. She'd taken 2 buses to get here. Spent her lunch break, unpaid, making this trip because everyone at the cafe told her to just keep the cash, keep the cards, pawn whatever she could. Integrity don't pay rent, girl, Shanice had said, counting her own meager tips. But Mama raised her better than that. Look, I'm not trying to cause trouble, Effie said, keeping her voice level even as heat crawled up her neck. I found Mr. Wayne's wallet. There's a lot of money in it. I'm just trying to do the right thing. The woman's expression didn't change. Leave it at reception downstairs. Someone will verify your claim. Your claim. Like she was trying to scam them. I'd prefer to hand it to him personally. That's not possible. Then make it possible. The words came out sharper than intended, but Effie was tired. Tired of being dismissed. Tired of being invisible. Tired of double shifts and worry about Mama's prescriptions and the landlord's threats, and the way people looked through her like she was made of glass. The woman's eyes narrowed. Her finger definitely moved this time, pressing something. Security will escort you out. Effie's heart hammered. This was going wrong. All wrong. She just wanted to return the wallet. Maybe, God, she felt stupid for even thinking it. Maybe get a small reward. Enough for this month's rent. Enough to buy Mama's medication without choosing between that and groceries. But she should have known better. People like her didn't get rewards. They got accused. Wait. Effie reached into her bag. Don't move. 2 security guards materialized from nowhere, hands on their belts where weapons probably lived. Effie froze, hand still in her bag, fingers touching worn leather. I'm just getting the wallet, she said slowly, carefully. That's all. I'm not. Step away from the bag, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Like she was a threat. Like she was dangerous. Effie's vision blurred at the edges, not with tears, never tears, but with rage so bright it tasted like copper. You've got to be kidding me. Final warning. Before she could respond, before she could scream or cry or throw the stupid wallet at their feet and storm out, a door opened down the hall. Not just any door. The door at the end of the corridor, where the walls turned from white to dark wood, where the lighting shifted from fluorescent to warm amber, where a brass placard read, Curtis Wayne, CEO. A man emerged.
Tall.
Dark suit that probably cost more than her entire yearly salary. Broad shoulders that filled the doorway. Brown skin a few shades deeper than hers. Close-cropped hair silvering at the temples. Jawline sharp enough to cut glass. And eyes, God, his eyes, cold and dark and utterly devoid of warmth as they locked onto her. Curtis Wayne, the billionaire himself. Effie's breath caught. He moved like a predator, each step deliberate, measured. The security guard straightened. The ice-blonde woman actually looked nervous. He stopped 5 feet away. Studied her. She felt examined. Dissected. Found wanting. When he finally spoke, his voice was deep, controlled, and absolutely glacial. So you're the thief. Effie's world tilted. Excuse me? My wallet went missing yesterday. His gaze dropped to her bag, then back to her face. Now you show up, claiming you found it. Convenient. The injustice of it, the sheer, breathtaking audacity, stole her words for 3 full seconds. Then they came flooding back. Are you serious right now? Effie pulled the wallet from her bag and held it up. I found this at my job. I brought it here because I'm trying to do the right thing, and you're calling me a thief? How much did you take?
What?
The wallet had $3,000 cash when I lost it. Curtis Wayne stepped closer, and Effie caught his scent, something dark and expensive that made her head swim. How much is left? Her hands shook. Not from fear. From fury. I didn't touch your money. Check it. She wanted to throw it at his perfect face. Instead, she opened it with trembling fingers, pulled out the thick stack of bills, and counted. Right there. In front of all of them. 2,800, 2,900, 3,000. She shoved the cash back in and thrust the wallet toward him. It's all there. Every penny. Every credit card. Every business card. Everything. He didn't take it. Where do you work? Why does that matter? Answer the question. Shirley's Cafe. Downtown. And, before you ask, no, I don't make a lot of money. Yes, $3,000 would change my life. And no, I didn't steal from you, and I'm not trying to con you, and I'm about 5 seconds from telling you exactly where you can shove your accusations. Someone gasped. Probably the ice-blonde woman. Curtis Wayne's expression didn't change. You went through my wallet, he said quietly. Looked at my business cards. Saw my ID. Probably saw the family photo, too. There had been a photo, tucked behind his driver's license. A little girl with his eyes and a smile that could light up the world. Effie's anger cracked, just slightly. I was trying to figure out how to return it, she said, softer now. That's all. Or casing what you could use. Identity theft is. You know what?
Keep it.
She dropped the wallet on the floor between them. I'm done. Mail me a thank you card when you realize I'm not a criminal. Or don't. I don't care anymore. She turned toward the elevator. Made it 3 steps. Then the door. That same door Curtis Wayne had emerged from, swung open again. And everything changed. A little girl stood in the doorway. 5 years old, maybe 6. Beautiful. Brown skin, natural curls pulled into 2 puffs, wearing a white dress with tiny flowers embroidered along the hem. She held a stuffed elephant against her chest. But it was her eyes that stopped Effie's heart. Empty. Haunted. Old in a way no child's eyes should ever be. The girl's gaze swept past her father, past the security guards, past the ice-blonde woman, and landed on Effie. For a long moment no one moved. Then the little girl walked forward. Not toward her father. Toward Effie. Laurel. Curtis Wayne's voice held a note Effie hadn't heard yet.
Panic.
Laurel, sweetheart, come here. The girl didn't stop. She walked right up to Effie, tilted her head back, and stared up at her with those devastating eyes. Effie's throat tightened. Hey there, she whispered, crouching down to the child's level. You okay, sweetie? Laurel didn't respond. Didn't smile. Just reached out one small hand and touched Effie's fingers. The contact sent electricity up her arm. And then,
God.
Then, the little girl's lips moved. The sound that came out was barely audible, scratchy with disuse, fragile as spun glass. Stay. The security guards froze. The ice-blonde woman's mouth fell open. Curtis Wayne looked like he'd been struck by lightning. Effie couldn't breathe. "What did you just say, baby?" she heard herself whisper. Laurel's grip tightened on her fingers. "Stay," she said again, stronger this time.
Clearer.
A single tear tracked down Curtis Wayne's face. "She hasn't spoken," he said hoarsely, "in 2 years." Effie should have left. Every instinct screamed at her to pull her hand away from the little girl's grip, stand up, walk into that elevator, and never look back. She'd return the wallet. Done her good deed. Whatever was happening here, whatever broken, complicated, expensive family drama this was, it wasn't her business. But Laurel's fingers were wrapped around hers like a lifeline, and those haunted eyes were pleading in a language that didn't need words. Stay. 2 years of silence, shattered. For her, a stranger.
Why?
Curtis Wayne hadn't moved. He stood frozen, that single tear still glistening on his cheek, his entire body rigid with shock. The security guards looked at each other, uncertain. The ice-blonde woman, his assistant, Effie realized, had one hand pressed to her mouth. "Mr. Wayne," the woman whispered. Laurel is. "I know what she's doing, Mina." His voice came out strangled.
Raw.
He blinked, seemed to remember himself, and straightened his shoulders. The vulnerability vanished behind that CEO mask so quickly Effie almost thought she'd imagined it. Almost. But she'd seen it. The crack in the armor. Curtis took a careful step forward, moving like someone approaching a wild animal that might bolt. "Laurel," he said softly. "Baby girl. Who is this?" Laurel didn't turn around. Didn't acknowledge him. Just kept staring up at Effie, fingers still wrapped around hers. "Nice lady," Laurel whispered. Another shock wave rippled through the hallway. Curtis's jaw worked. Yes. She is a nice lady. She brought Daddy's wallet back. But now she needs to go home. And...
No.
The word was small but absolute. Sweetheart.
No.
Laurel's other hand grabbed Effie's arm. "She stays." Effie's heart twisted. She knew this grip. Desperate. Terrified of abandonment. She'd felt it in her own chest every time Mama went into the hospital, every time the doctors came out with those careful, sympathetic faces that meant we're doing everything we can. But she recognized trauma when she saw it. "Hey," Effie said gently, crouching lower so they were eye to eye. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Laurel." Barely a whisper. "That's a beautiful name. I'm Effie." She smiled, the real one she saved for the kids who came into the cafe, the one that had nothing to do with tips or customer service. "Your daddy's right, though. I do need to go home soon. My mama's waiting for me." Something flickered in Laurel's eyes. Understanding, maybe. Or recognition. "Your mama's sick?" Laurel asked. The question punched the air from Effie's lungs. "How did you?" She stopped. "Yeah, baby. She is. My mama's gone." "Oh, God." Effie looked up at Curtis Wayne, questions flooding her mind, but his face had gone carefully blank. A man practiced at hiding pain. "I'm so sorry," Effie said, looking back at Laurel. "That must hurt so much." Laurel nodded. "She can't come back." "No, baby. She can't. But you came." The words hung in the air like a spell. Effie didn't understand what this child meant, but she understood grief. Loss. The way it could make you cling to anything that felt like comfort, like safety, like the phantom warmth of someone who used to tuck you in at night. She glanced at Curtis again. "Mr. Wayne, How much?" he asked abruptly. Effie blinked. "What?" "How much to stay?" "1 hour. Let her talk to you. Or just sit with you. Whatever she needs." His voice was controlled again, but something desperate lurked beneath it. "Name your price." Pride flared hot in her chest. "I'm not a prostitute, and your daughter isn't a transaction." "That's not what I know what you meant." Effie stood, though Laurel immediately protested with a small sound of distress. "But I'm not taking your money. I came here to return your wallet because it was the right thing to do, not because I wanted a reward." "Everyone wants something."
Yeah.
I want you to stop assuming I'm running a con. Their eyes locked. For the first time, Curtis Wayne really looked at her. Not as a threat or a thief or a problem to solve. As a person. What he saw seemed to surprise him. Nina, he said, not breaking eye contact. Clear my afternoon. Sir, you have the board meeting at 3 and the… Cancel it. Nina's perfectly painted eyebrows rose. All of it. All of it. He looked down at his daughter, and his expression softened into something that made Effie's throat ache.
Love.
Pure and fierce, and edged with desperation.
Laurel, he said.
Would you like Miss Dawes to have lunch with us? Laurel's face transformed. The emptiness flickered, and for just a second, Effie saw the child underneath the trauma. Hopeful.
Bright.
Yes, Laurel said. Then, remembering something, added, please. Curtis looked at Effie.
Please.
The word sounded unpracticed, like he didn't use it often. Effie thought about Mama, waiting at home for her afternoon medications. Thought about her shift at the cafe starting in 3 hours. Thought about the bills piling up and the landlord's final notice and the fact that she couldn't afford to lose even half a day's pay. Thought about those 2 years of silence. About a little girl who'd lost her mother and somehow decided Effie was safe. Damn it. 1 hour, she said. Then I have to go back to work. The relief on Curtis Wayne's face was almost painful to witness. Thank you, he said quietly. Laurel made a sound that might have been a laugh, might have been, and tugged Effie toward the office at the end of the hall. The office was exactly what Effie expected. Massive, minimalist, glass walls overlooking the city, furniture that cost more than her car. What she didn't expect was the corner that had been transformed into a child's haven. Colorful rug, toy chest, small bookshelf, beanbag chairs in purple and pink. A little girl's sanctuary in a billionaire's empire. Daddy works a lot, Laurel said, following Effie's gaze. She'd already pulled Effie to the corner, settling on a pink beanbag and patting the purple one beside it. So, I stay here sometimes. That must get boring, Effie said, sitting. Laurel shrugged. Books are good. And Miss Nina brings snacks. Curtis stood awkwardly near his desk, like he didn't quite know what to do in his own office. Nina had disappeared, probably to cancel those meetings and alert whoever needed alerting that the world had just shifted on its axis. Do you like books? Laurel asked Effie. I love books. What's your favorite? Laurel pulled one from the shelf, the Velveteen Rabbit, and handed it to Effie. The cover was worn soft, pages dog-eared. Mama used to read it, Laurel said softly. Every night. Effie's vision blurred. Would you like me to read it to you? Laurel nodded. So, Effie read. Curtis Wayne, billionaire CEO, feared by boardrooms and stockholders and probably half of New York, stood silent and still while a waitress in a wrinkled uniform read his daughter a story about becoming real through being loved. When Effie finished, Laurel was leaning against her shoulder. You sound like her, Laurel whispered. A little bit. Like who, baby? Mama. Laurel looked up at her. Your voice is warm. Hers was warm, too. Effie had to swallow 3 times before she could speak. I bet she gave the best hugs. She did. Laurel paused. Do you give good hugs? I've been told I'm an excellent hugger. Laurel considered this seriously, then carefully wrapped her small arms around Effie's waist. Effie hugged her back, this broken little girl who'd lost everything, and somehow found enough courage to speak again. Over Laurel's head, Effie met Curtis Wayne's eyes. The naked gratitude there, the desperate, terrified hope, told her more about him than any Forbes profile ever could. He wasn't just a billionaire. He was a father, drowning, watching his child slip away, powerless to stop it. Until today. Until a waitress with integrity brought back more than a wallet. Mr. Wayne, Effie said quietly. What happened 2 years ago? His jaw tightened. My wife died. Car accident. Laurel was in the back seat. Oh, God. She saw everything. The word came out like broken glass. She hasn't spoken since. Hasn't cried. Hasn't. We've tried everything. Therapists, specialists, doctors. Nothing worked. Until he looked at his daughter, wonder and confusion warring on his face. Until you. I don't understand why, Effie admitted. Neither do I. Curtis crossed the room, crouched beside his daughter. But I need to understand. Because if there's even a chance you can help her. He stopped. Started again. I'll pay you whatever you want. Hire you as her nanny, her companion, I don't care. Just. I have a job. A mother. Who needs me? Bring her here. I'll hire the best doctors. Private nurses. Whatever she needs. Effie stared at him. You don't even know what's wrong with her. I don't care. And he didn't.
She could see that.
Curtis Wayne, who probably calculated every risk and return, who built an empire on strategy and logic, was willing to throw money at a complete stranger because his daughter had spoken. Why would you do that? Effie asked. His answer was simple, devastating. Because she's all I have left. Laurel tightened her grip on Effie. And Effie realized, with creeping certainty and no small amount of terror, that walking away was no longer an option. Not because of money or opportunity. Because this little girl needed her. And Effie had never been able to walk away from someone who needed her. It was her greatest strength. And, she suspected, about to become her greatest weakness. What do you think Effie should do? Would you stay for this little girl? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing your thoughts. Effie's phone buzzed in her pocket for the 5th time in 10 minutes. She didn't need to check it to know who was calling. Shanice. Her shift had started 20 minutes ago, and Shirley had a strict policy. Miss your shift without a damn good excuse. Don't bother coming back. Laurel was showing her a drawing, crayon flowers and impossible colors, explaining in her soft, newly rediscovered voice that purple roses were better than red ones because purple was magic. Effie was about to lose her job, and she couldn't bring herself to care. I have to make a call, she said gently, pulling out her phone. Is that okay? Laurel nodded, already reaching for another crayon. Effie stood, moved toward the windows overlooking the city, and dialed. Shanice picked up on the first ring. Girl, where the hell are you? Shirley is losing it. I know.
I'm sorry.
Something came up. Something better than your rent money, because she's talking about. Tell her I quit. Silence. Then, excuse me? Effie closed her eyes. I quit. Tell Shirley, tell her thank you for the years, but I'm done. Effie, what is going on? Are you okay? Did someone hurt you?
No.
I'm fine. How could she explain this? I found something I need to do more. You found what? Girl, you're talking in riddles. I'll explain later. I have to go. She hung up before Shanice could protest, before she could think too hard about what she'd just done, before reality could catch up with the insanity of this decision. When she turned around, Curtis was watching her. You just quit your job, he said. Not a question. Looks like it. For a child you met 20 minutes ago. Apparently, I make excellent life choices. Effie crossed her arms. You got a problem with it? Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, maybe. Or respect. No, he said slowly. But I want to understand why. You said it yourself. You'll pay me to help her. I need money. Problem solved. You didn't ask how much.
He was right.
She hadn't.
Fine.
How much? Curtis named a figure. Effie laughed. Actually laughed because the number was so absurd it had to be a joke. It wasn't a joke. His expression stayed serious. Effie did the math in her head. That's more than I make in a year. For 1 hour a day. For however long she needs you. Curtis moved closer, and Effie caught that scent again. Cedar and something darker. If 1 hour works fine. If she needs more, we adjust. But I want you available. I have a mother. I'll arrange home health care.
The best.
And before you get proud on me again, consider it part of your compensation package. Effie should have felt grateful. Instead, she felt suspicious. Why are you doing this? I told you. She's all I have.
No.
Effie cut him off. Why are you making this so easy? You don't know me. 2 hours ago, you thought I was a thief. Now you're throwing money at me and offering to take care of my sick mother? That's not normal. That's not how people operate. Curtis's jaw tightened. You're not normal. What's that supposed to mean? It means, he stopped, ran a hand over his face. When he looked at her again, exhaustion had replaced the CEO mask. My daughter hasn't spoken in 2 years. 2 years of specialists and therapists and medications and nothing worked. Then you walk in here, and in 5 minutes she's talking, laughing, drawing pictures and showing them to you like it's the most natural thing in the world. His voice cracked. So no, I don't know you. And yes, maybe I should be more careful. But right now, I don't care about careful. I care about my daughter. And if you can bring her back.
He stopped.
I'll give you anything. The raw honesty in his voice hit her like a fist. Effie opened her mouth to respond. The door burst open. Nina rushed in, her ice queen composure shattered. Mr. Wayne, we have a problem. Curtis's expression hardened immediately. What kind of problem? Security flagged something on yesterday's footage. Nina's gaze flicked to Effie, uncertain. Maybe we should discuss this privately. Say it. Nina's lips pressed into a thin line. Your wallet wasn't lost. It was stolen. The air in the room changed. Curtis went very still. Explain. The footage shows someone bumping into you at Merchant's Coffee yesterday morning. Classic pickpocket move. But here's the strange part. Nina pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen. 30 minutes later, the same person left the wallet at Shirley's cafe. Deliberately. They walked in, ordered nothing, placed it in a specific booth, and left. Effie's blood went cold. Booth 7, she whispered. Nina looked at her sharply. How did you know? Because that's my section. That's where I always work. Curtis's eyes locked onto hers. They wanted you to find it. The implication hung between them like smoke. That's impossible, Effie said. Nobody knows me. I'm nobody. Why would someone? Show me, Curtis told Nina. She turned the tablet around. The footage was grainy but clear enough. A figure in a dark hoodie, face obscured, moving through the cafe, placing the wallet, leaving. But just before exiting, the person looked directly at the camera and smiled. Freeze that, Curtis ordered. Nina did. The smile was wrong. Too wide. Too knowing. Run facial recognition, Curtis said. Already did. No match in any database. What about the pickpocket footage? Same person. Same lack of identification. Nina hesitated. Sir, there's something else. Tell me. After placing the wallet, they left something in the booth. Nina swiped to another image. The waitstaff found it during closing. They thought it was trash, but... The image showed a small white card. Effie squinted. What does it say? Curtis took the tablet. Read. And went pale. Sir? Nina's voice was tight with concern. He didn't answer. Just handed the tablet to Effie. She looked at the screen. The card had 3 words, handwritten in elegant script. She remembers you. Effie's hands started shaking. I don't understand. Who remembers me? Curtis's voice came out flat.
Dead.
My wife. Your wife is dead. I know. Then how? I don't know. He took the tablet back, stared at the message like it might make sense if he looked hard enough. But someone thinks they know something. About her. About you. About... He looked at Laurel, still coloring peacefully in her corner, oblivious to the tension crackling through the room. This is insane, Effie said. I never met your wife. I don't know anything about your family. Yesterday was the first time I even heard your name. Then why does this person think otherwise? Maybe they're crazy. Maybe it's a prank or... People don't orchestrate elaborate wallet thefts as pranks, Miss Dawes. Curtis was back in CEO mode, cold and analytical. Someone wanted you to come here. They wanted you to meet me. To meet Laurel. Why? That's what I'm going to find out. He turned to Nina. Get Sebastian on the phone. Tell him I need a full background check on Effie Dawes. Everything. Where she was born, where she grew up, family history, medical records, employment. Absolutely not, Effie interrupted. Curtis looked at her like she'd grown a second head. Excuse me? You're not investigating me like I'm a suspect. Someone targeted you specifically. Someone targeted you and used me to do it. There's a difference. Effie's temper flared hot and bright. I came here to return your wallet. I stayed to help your daughter. But I'm not letting you dig through my life because some psycho left a creepy note. It's for your protection. It's for your peace of mind. There's a difference. They stared at each other, both stubborn, both refusing to back down. Laurel's small voice cut through the tension. Don't fight. They both turned. The little girl was standing now, elephant clutched to her chest, eyes wide and frightened. Mama and Daddy used to fight, she whispered. Before she left, the pain on Curtis's face was devastating. We're not fighting, baby girl, he said softly, moving toward her. We're just talking. You're using your scary voice. He crouched down, all that hardness melting away. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. Laurel looked at Effie. Are you leaving? And there it was. The choice. Walk away from the mystery, the danger. The billionaire with walls thicker than his building's foundation and a dead wife whose name kept surfacing like a ghost. Or stay for a little girl who'd finally found her voice. Effie closed her eyes. Thought about Mama, who always said, baby, if you can help, you help. That's what we do. Thought about 2 years of silence. Thought about that smile on the footage. Too wide, too knowing. Thought about 3 words. She remembers you. Opened her eyes. No, sweetheart, Effie said. I'm not leaving. Relief flooded Laurel's face. Curtis stood slowly. But you won't agree to the background check. I'll make you a deal, Effie said. You want to know about me? Ask me. Face to face. Like actual human beings. No investigators, no reports, no creepy surveillance. That's not how I operate. It is now. If you want me to help your daughter. She was gambling. Playing chicken with a billionaire who could crush her with a phone call. But something in his eyes, something beneath the ice, responded to the challenge. Fine, he said. Dinner. Tonight. You tell me everything, and I decide if I believe you. Dinner? Effie raised an eyebrow. Like a date? His expression didn't change. Like an interrogation with better food. Despite everything, the fear, the confusion, the absolute insanity of this situation, Effie almost smiled. Romantic. I'm not trying to romance you, Miss Dawes. I'm trying to protect my daughter.
Good.
Because I'm not interested in billionaires with trust issues. And I'm not interested in waitresses with secrets. I don't have secrets. Everyone has secrets. The air between them crackled with something that wasn't quite hostility and wasn't quite attraction, but lived somewhere in the dangerous space between. Nina cleared her throat. Should I make a reservation? Curtis didn't look away from Effie.
No.
My house. 7 o'clock. Nina will send a car. I can take the bus. You can take the car I send, or we can cancel this whole arrangement right now. Stubborn. Control freak. Probably used to getting his way. Effie hated that she found it slightly attractive.
Fine.
7 o'clock. Good. Good. They stared at each other for another beat. Laurel tugged on Effie's hand. Will you come back tomorrow? After dinner? Effie looked down at her, at those hopeful eyes, and felt her heart crack open. Yeah, baby. I'll come back. Laurel smiled, really smiled, and it was like watching sunrise. Promise. Promise. Curtis's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned. Nina, get legal on the line. The quantum merger is, he stopped. Looked at his daughter. At Effie. And made a choice. Actually, it can wait. He pocketed the phone. Laurel, want to show Miss Dawes your puzzle collection? Laurel's entire face lit up. And Effie realized, watching this man set aside his empire to sit on the floor with his daughter, that Curtis Wayne was more dangerous than she'd thought. Not because he was ruthless or powerful, but because underneath all that armor, he was just a father who loved his child. And Effie had always been a sucker for good fathers. This was going to be complicated. The car that picked up Effie at 6:45 wasn't a car. It was a Mercedes S-Class with leather seats softer than her bed, and a driver who called her ma'am, like she was someone important. She'd changed into the only dress she owned that wasn't a work uniform, a simple navy blue thing she wore to church when Mama was well enough to go, and felt immediately underdressed. The drive took 30 minutes, leaving the city behind for wooded estates where the houses hid behind gates and stone walls. Curtis Wayne's house turned out to be a modern masterpiece of glass and steel nestled into the hillside, all clean lines and warm light spilling onto manicured grounds. Effie's stomach nodded. She didn't belong here. The driver opened her door. "Mr. Wayne is expecting you on the terrace, ma'am." Of course he had a terrace. Probably had 12. A housekeeper, older black woman with kind eyes and graying locks, met her at the door. "You must be Effie. I'm Paulette. Mr. Wayne told me about what you did for little Laurel." She smiled warmly. That child hasn't smiled like she did today in 2 years. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Some of Effie's tension eased. "Is she here?" "Sleeping." Finally. "She fought bedtime for an hour telling me about the nice lady who reads better than anybody." Paulette's eyes twinkled. "You made quite an impression." "She made one on me too." Paulette led her through the house, past art that probably cost more than Effie's entire apartment building, past floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights, past evidence of wealth so casual it felt obscene. But there were also signs of Laurel everywhere. Drawings on the refrigerator, small shoes by the door, a purple backpack on the counter. This wasn't just a showpiece. It was a home. The terrace was lit by soft lanterns, a table set for two overlooking the infinity pool and the glittering city beyond. Curtis stood at the railing, still in his suit pants but jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up, holding a glass of amber liquid. He turned when she approached. Something flickered in his eyes as he took her in. Surprise, maybe, or appreciation, but it vanished quickly behind that controlled mask. "You came," he said. "I promised Laurel I would." "Not me. You I'm still deciding about." The corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. "Fair enough. Wine." "Just water, thanks." He poured from a crystal pitcher, handed her a glass. Their fingers brushed. Electricity sparked up her arm. From his sharp inhale, he felt it too. They both took a step back. "So," Effie said, settling into a chair because standing felt too dangerous. "Is this where you interrogate me?" "I prefer to think of it as getting to know you. With an agenda." "Everything has an agenda, Miss Dawes."
Effie.
"If we're having dinner, you can use my first name." "Curtis." He sat across from her. "Though I suspect you already knew that. Kind of hard to miss when your name is on half the buildings in the city." "Only a quarter, actually." She couldn't tell if he was joking. Paulette emerged with plates, something that smelled incredible and looked like art, then disappeared with a knowing look that Effie didn't want to interpret. "You don't have to do this," Effie said, gesturing at the elaborate setup. "I would have talked to you in your office. Laurel wanted to say goodnight to you. It seemed easier to have you here." Curtis cut into his food with precise movements. "And I don't entertain much. Paulette enjoys having someone to cook for. Besides you and Laurel. Laurel eats chicken nuggets and refuses vegetables. I eat whatever I can between meetings." He paused. "This is nice. Different." The admission was small, but it cracked something open between them. They ate in silence for a moment. Then Curtis said, "Tell me about your mother." Effie took a sip of water, buying time. "What do you want to know?" "Everything. Start with what's wrong with her." "Congestive heart failure. She's had it for 3 years. Gets worse every month." Effie's throat tightened. "We can't afford the surgery that might help. Medications keep her stable, but..." She shrugged. "It's just a matter of time." Curtis's expression softened. "I'm sorry. Don't be. She's a fighter. Raised me alone after my dad died, worked 3 jobs to keep us fed, taught me everything important." Effie smiled despite the ache in her chest. "She's the reason I brought your wallet back. Wouldn't let me hear the end of it if I hadn't. She sounds remarkable." "She is." "And you take care of her alone? Don't have siblings? Don't have anyone else?" Effie met his eyes. It's just us. Has been for a long time. Curtis nodded slowly, like he understood something unspoken. Laurel and I are the same. Just us. What about other family? His jaw tightened. My parents died when I was young. Built the company from what they left me. My wife, he stopped. Her family cut contact after she married me. Thought she was downgrading. From what to a billionaire? I wasn't a billionaire when we met. Just someone with an idea and too much ambition. Something flickered across his face. Memory, maybe. Or pain. Vivian saw something in me no one else did. Believed in me when I had nothing.
Vivian.
His dead wife finally had a name. How did you meet? Effie asked softly. Curtis took a long drink. She was a journalist. Doing a piece on startup culture. Interviewed me in a coffee shop because I couldn't afford an office. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. She was brilliant.
Fierce.
Didn't take any of my bullshit. I fell in love with her before the interview ended. The affection in his voice made Effie's chest ache. She sounds amazing. She was. Past tense. Final. He set down his glass harder than necessary. She was also reckless sometimes. Took chances. Pushed boundaries. It's what made her a great journalist.
It's also what?
He didn't finish. What got her killed? Curtis's eyes snapped to hers, sharp and defensive. Effie held up a hand. I'm not judging, just listening. He studied her for a long moment then. She was investigating something. Wouldn't tell me what. Said it was too dangerous, that she needed to protect us. His voice went hollow. 3 days later, her car went off a bridge. Police said it was an accident. Bad weather, slick roads. But Vivian grew up driving in worse. You think someone killed her? I think she found something someone didn't want found. Curtis leaned forward. And I think whoever left that message knows what it was. The pieces clicked together in Effie's mind. You think I'm connected to her investigation? Are you? I told you I never met her. Never heard of her until today. Then why does someone think you're connected? I don't know. Frustration bled into Effie's voice. Curtis, I'm a waitress. I pour coffee and serve eggs and go home to take care of my dying mother. I'm nobody. I don't have secrets or mysteries or... Everyone keeps saying that about you, Curtis interrupted. You're nobody. You're just a waitress. You're nothing special. His gaze pinned her. But my daughter spoke for the first time in 2 years because of you. Someone orchestrated an elaborate scheme to bring you to me. And sitting here, talking to you.
He stopped.
You're not nobody, Effie. I don't know what you are, but you're not that. The intensity in his voice stole her breath. I'm scared, she admitted quietly. I don't understand what's happening. Don't understand why someone would target me or what they want or... She looked at him helplessly. I'm in over my head. Something in Curtis's expression gentled. I know the feeling. You? You're a billionaire CEO. You probably invented being in control. I invented looking in control. There's a difference. He stood, moved to the railing, stared out at the city. When Vivian died, I fell apart. Completely. Laurel stopped talking, and I didn't know how to reach her. Didn't know how to be both parents. Didn't know how to run a company and raise a traumatized child, and... He exhaled slowly. I've been drowning for 2 years. Pretending I'm not, but drowning all the same. Effie stood, moved beside him. Not touching, but close enough to feel his warmth. You're doing better than you think, she said. Laurel knows you love her. That counts for a lot. Does it? When I can't help her? You got her help today. You put aside your pride and your suspicion and let a stranger into her life because you thought it might work. Effie bumped his shoulder gently. That's not drowning. That's fighting. Curtis looked at her, really looked, and something passed between them. Understanding, maybe. Recognition. 2 people trying to keep their heads above water, finding each other in the deep. I want to trust you, he said quietly. But trust is hard. I know. Effie's own walls were sky high. Had to be when you grew up with nothing and people always wanted something. But I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to trust your daughter. She chose me for a reason. I don't understand why. Neither do I. But maybe we can figure it out together. The word together hung in the air like a promise. Curtis's phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. You should get that, Effie said. He pulled it out, glanced at the screen, and went very still. What? Effie asked. Wordlessly, he turned the phone to show her. It was a text from an unknown number. A photo of Effie and Curtis on the terrace, standing close together. Taken from somewhere in the dark woods beyond the property. Beneath it, a message. She looks just like her, doesn't she? Effie's blood turned to ice. Like who? Curtis was already moving, pulling up another app, typing rapidly. Security. Someone's on the property. Curtis. Get inside.
Now.
Who do I look like? He turned, and the expression on his face was pure shock. Vivian, he whispered. You look like my wife. The world tilted. That's impossible. I don't look anything like. Curtis pulled up a photo on his phone. Vivian Wayne, smiling at the camera, brown skin glowing, natural curls framing her face, eyes warm and bright. Effie stared at the curve of her cheekbones that matched Effie's own, the shape of her smile, the exact shade of her skin. Oh my God, Effie breathed. They could have been sisters. I didn't see it before, Curtis said, voice strained. Your hair is different, your style, the way you carry yourself. But now, looking at you both. He turned away, ran a hand over his face. How is this possible? I don't know. I don't have family. No siblings, no cousins, nothing. Effie's mind raced. My mother would have told me if. Would she? The question landed like a bomb. What are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm asking. Curtis faced her again, and the CEO mask was back. Is there any possibility your mother kept secrets? About your father, your family history, anything? Effie wanted to say no, but Mama had always been evasive about Daddy. Said he died when Effie was a baby, wouldn't talk about his family, changed the subject whenever Effie pushed. I need to talk to her, Effie said. I'm coming with you. The hell you are. Someone is watching us, Effie. Someone who knows more than we do. Someone who brought you to me for a reason. Curtis moved closer, and his proximity made her pulse race. I'm not letting you walk into danger alone. You don't get to make that choice. Then let me help. Please. There was that word again. Unpracticed. Rough around the edges. Sincere. Before Effie could answer, Paulette appeared in the doorway, face pale. Mr. Wayne. Security found something at the gate. What? An envelope. Addressed to Miss Dawes. Effie's stomach dropped. What's in it? Paulette held it out with shaking hands. Effie took it, opened it with Curtis, looking over her shoulder. Inside was a single photograph. Old. Faded. 25 years old, at least. It showed two women, both young, both pregnant, both smiling. Effie recognized one immediately. Her mother. Decades younger, but unmistakably her. The other woman. No, Curtis breathed. The other woman was Vivian Wayne. And on the back of the photo, in handwriting Effie didn't recognize. Sisters. Secrets.
Lies.
The truth will break you both. Effie couldn't breathe.
Couldn't think.
Could only stare at proof that nothing she knew about her life was real. Curtis's hand found hers, gripped tight. And for once, she didn't pull away. Effie's mother lived in a rent-controlled apartment in Queens, third floor of a building that had needed renovating 20 years ago. The elevator was broken. Always was. So Effie climbed the stairs with Curtis behind her, his presence both comforting and terrifying. She'd called ahead. Told Mama she was coming. Didn't mention the billionaire CEO or the impossible photograph or the fact that her entire life might be a lie. Her hands shook as she unlocked the door. Mama? In here, baby. The apartment was small but immaculate. Mama's pride wouldn't allow anything less. Worn furniture covered with crocheted blankets, photos on every surface, the smell of vanilla candles masking the mustiness that came with old buildings. Mama sat in her recliner, oxygen cannula in her nose, looking frielier than she had just yesterday. But her eyes were sharp when they landed on Curtis. "So you brought him," she said quietly. Effie froze. "You know who he is?" "I know." Mama's gaze stayed on Curtis. "You look like your father. Same eyes. Same way of standing like you own the world." Curtis looked like he'd been slapped. "You knew my father?" "Knew of him. Vivian showed me pictures." Mama's voice was tired, resigned. "I wondered when this day would come. Hoped it wouldn't. But I guess some things can't stay buried forever." Effie's world tilted again. "Mama, what are you talking about?" Her mother looked at her with infinite sadness. "Baby, sit down. Both of you. This is going to be hard." They sat, Effie on the couch, Curtis beside her, both rigid with tension. Mama closed her eyes for a long moment, gathering strength or courage or both. Then she opened them and said, "Vivian Wayne was my sister." The words hung in the air like smoke. "Your sister," Effie repeated numbly. "You told me you didn't have family, that it was just us." "I lied." Mama's voice cracked. "God forgive me, I lied about so many things." Curtis leaned forward. "Why?" "Because she asked me to." Tears spilled down Mama's cheeks. "Vivian called me 3 days before she died. Said she'd uncovered something dangerous. Said if anything happened to her, I had to protect Effie. Had to keep her away from." She looked at Curtis. "Away from you. From your world. From whatever got Vivian killed." "What did she uncover?" Curtis's voice was deadly quiet. "I don't know. She wouldn't tell me. Just said it involved your company, people with power, people who would kill to keep secrets buried." Mama coughed, a wet rattling sound. "She made me promise. If she died, I would disappear with Effie. Change our names if I had to. Never let you find us." Effie felt like she was drowning. "But we didn't disappear. We're still here. Because I got sick." Mama's laugh was bitter. "Can't run when you can barely breathe. So I did the next best thing. Kept you working double shifts, kept you too busy to ask questions, kept you in a small world where a man like Curtis Wayne would never notice you. Until someone made sure he did," Curtis said. Mama's eyes widened. "What?" Effie pulled out the photograph, the one of Mama and Vivian, pregnant, smiling. "Someone left this for us. Along with a message. They orchestrated everything to bring Curtis and me together." Mama took the photo with shaking hands. "Where did you get this?" "Whoever's been watching us." Effie moved to kneel in front of her mother. "Mama, who else knew? About you and Vivian?" "No one. We kept it secret. Even before."
She stopped.
"Before what?" Curtis pressed. Mama looked at him for a long moment. Then, quietly, "Before we found out we were both pregnant at the same time." The room went silent. "You were pregnant," Effie said slowly. "With me." "Yes." "And Vivian was pregnant with Laurel," Curtis finished, voice strangled. "They were pregnant with our daughters at the same time." Mama nodded. "We were so excited. Thought our girls would grow up together. Be sisters like we were. We planned everything. How we'd raise them, how they'd be best friends, how we'd." She sobbed. Then Vivian's investigation started. She found something. Wouldn't tell me what. Just said it was big. Dangerous. That she had to expose it, but she was scared. "Scared of what?" Curtis demanded. "Of you." The words hit like a bullet. Curtis recoiled. "What?" "Not you specifically," Mama said quickly. "But of what you represented. Power.
Wealth.
The kind of world where people kill to protect their interests." She looked at him with something like pity. "Vivian loved you, but she was terrified that whatever she found would destroy you, or that you were already part of it." "I would never," Curtis's voice broke. "I loved her. I would have protected her." "That's what she was afraid of." Mama's eyes were infinitely sad. "That you'd protect her instead of letting her do what was right. That you'd use your money and power to bury the truth. So she kept it from you." Curtis stood abruptly, moved to the window, shoulders rigid. Effie's mind raced. But why bring me to Curtis now? If Vivian wanted us kept apart, why would someone force us together? I don't know, baby. The message said, the truth will break you both. What truth? Mama's face went pale. I don't. Mama, please. No more lies. Her mother looked at her for a long moment, then reached into the pocket of her robe and pulled out a small key. In my bedroom closet. Shoebox on the top shelf. Everything Vivian left me is in there. I couldn't bring myself to look after she died. Couldn't. She pressed the key into Effie's hand. Maybe it's time. Effie stood, moved to the bedroom. The same bedroom she'd slept in as a child when they visited Mama, before she'd gotten her own place. The shoebox was exactly where Mama said. Inside, letters, photos, and a USB drive. Curtis appeared in the doorway. What is it? I don't know. Effie held up the drive. You have a computer? He pulled out his phone. This works. She handed him the drive. He plugged it in, pulled up the files. There were dozens. Documents, scanned images, video files. Curtis opened the first document. Read. Went absolutely white.
What?
Effie asked. What is it? He handed her the phone with shaking hands. The document was labeled, Quantum Holdings, Money Laundering Operation. Beneath it, detailed records. Transactions. Names.
Dates.
All leading back to Curtis's company. No, Curtis breathed. This is impossible. I would know if. Keep reading, Effie said quietly.
He did.
And found the name of the person orchestrating it all. Sebastian Quinn, CFO, Wayne Industries. Curtis's best friend. His right-hand man. The person who'd helped him build his empire. Sebastian, Curtis whispered. He's been for how long? Effie scrolled through the documents. According to this, since the beginning. Since you first started the company. Curtis looked gutted.
Betrayed.
He was at our wedding. He's Laurel's godfather.
He stopped.
Oh God. Vivian found this. That's what she was investigating. And Sebastian found out. Effie's blood went cold. Curtis. What if Vivian's accident wasn't an accident? The question hung between them like a grenade. Curtis's hands curled into fists. I'll kill him.
No.
You'll call the police. You'll. The police can't help. Half of them are probably on his payroll, if he's this deep. Curtis was already moving, pulling out his phone. I need to get Laurel. Need to secure her. Make sure she's safe, then. Mr. Wayne. They both turned. Paulette stood in the apartment doorway, face streaked with tears, phone clutched in her hand. Paulette. Curtis's voice went deadly calm. What's wrong? I'm so sorry, she sobbed. He said he'd hurt my grandchildren if I didn't. I'm so sorry. Ice flooded Effie's veins. Didn't what? He took her. Paulette collapsed against the doorframe. Sebastian came to the house 20 minutes ago. Said it was an emergency. I let him into Laurel's room, and he took her.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so. Curtis had already pushed past her, running for the stairs. Effie chased after him. Curtis, wait. You can't just. He has my daughter. The roar echoed through the stairwell. They burst onto the street. Curtis's car was there. He must have driven himself, and he was already getting in. Effie jumped into the passenger seat before he could leave without her. You should stay here, he said, voice vibrating with barely controlled rage. Not happening. Effie. That little girl spoke her first words to me. I promised her I'd come back. I'm not breaking that promise. She met his eyes. Drive. For a second, she thought he'd argue. Then he floored it. They screamed through the city, Curtis calling everyone, security, lawyers, private investigators, giving terse orders, his voice like ice over molten fury. Effie's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Hello. Hello, Effie. The voice was smooth, cultured, familiar from somewhere. Or should I say Effie Dawes? Though that's not really your name, is it? Sebastian Quinn. Where's Laurel? Effie demanded. Safe.
For now.
Depends on what her father does next. A pause. Put me on speaker. Effie did. Curtis, Sebastian said. Long time no talk. Curtis's knuckles went white on the steering wheel. If you hurt her, I won't. Not if you're reasonable. All I need is for you to transfer ownership of Wayne Industries to me. Sign the papers, walk away, and you get your daughter back. You killed Vivian. Silence. Then, she was going to ruin everything. Years of careful planning, billions in revenue. All gone because she couldn't mind her own business. Sebastian's voice hardened. I gave her a chance to walk away. She refused. What happened after that was her choice. Curtis made a sound like a wounded animal. You have 2 hours, Sebastian continued. I'll send you a location. Come alone, sign the papers, and this all ends peacefully. And if I don't, then Laurel has the same accident her mother did. And Effie, sweet, noble Effie, well, she looks so much like Vivian, doesn't she? Be a shame if she disappeared too. The threat was clear. Why involve her? Curtis asked. Why bring Effie to me at all? Sebastian laughed. Because I needed you unstable, emotional, distracted. A daughter who wouldn't speak, a new woman who looked exactly like your dead wife, mysteries and danger. You've been so busy playing detective, you didn't notice me systematically dismantling your control over the company. The board meets tomorrow to vote you out. But I'm impatient. This is faster. The pieces clicked into place. The wallet, the messages, the photograph, all orchestrated, all designed to manipulate them.
2 hours, Sebastian said.
Don't be late. He hung up. Curtis pulled over, hands shaking so hard he couldn't drive. I can't lose her, he whispered. I can't lose Laurel too. Effie grabbed his face, forced him to look at her. You won't. We won't. She didn't know where the certainty came from. But we need to be smart. We need. I'll give him everything. The company, the money, all of it. As long as she's safe. He won't let her go. You know that. Effie's voice was gentle but firm. He killed Vivian to protect his secrets. He'll kill Laurel too.
And you.
And me. Curtis closed his eyes. Then what do I do? Effie thought of Mama's words. If you can help, you help. Thought of Laurel's small hand in hers. Stay. Thought of Vivian. Dead because she tried to do the right thing. And made a choice. We give him what he wants, she said. But not the way he expects. Curtis looked at her. What are you thinking? Effie pulled out the USB drive, still in her pocket. Vivian gathered evidence. Enough to bury Sebastian. We use it.
How?
We can't go to the police. We don't have time for. We don't need the police. Effie's mind raced. We need leverage. We need him scared enough to make a mistake. She met Curtis's eyes. Do you trust me? It was the same question she'd asked him hours ago. A lifetime ago. Curtis searched her face. Saw something there that made him nod. Yes, he said. I trust you. And Effie realized, sitting in a car with a billionaire whose life was imploding, planning to face a killer to save a little girl who'd spoken her first words in years, that she trusted him too. Against all logic. Against every wall she'd built. She trusted Curtis Wayne. And together, they were going to save his daughter. Or die trying. I can't breathe.
Can you?
Tell me in the comments what you think happens next. And if this story is destroying you in the best way. The location Sebastian sent was a warehouse in Red Hook. Abandoned, isolated, the kind of place where screams wouldn't carry. Curtis parked 3 blocks away. They had 90 minutes. Effie's plan was insane.
Desperate.
Built on hope and timing and a dozen things that could go wrong. But it was all they had. You remember what to do? Curtis asked, checking his phone for the 10th time. I remember. Effie's hands were steadier than she felt. But Curtis, if this goes wrong. It won't. If it does. Effie. He turned to face her fully. If this goes wrong, I need you to run. Get out. Don't look back. I'm not leaving you. You have to. Your mother needs you. And Laurel, his voice cracked. If I can't save her, someone needs to remember her.
Tell her story.
Make sure the world knows what Sebastian did. Tears burned Effie's eyes. Don't talk like that. I'm being realistic. You're being fatalistic. There's a difference. She grabbed his hand. We're getting her back. Both of us. Together. You hear me? Curtis looked at their joined hands. Then at her face. And something in his expression shifted, softened, and intensified all at once. When this is over, he said quietly, I need to tell you something. Tell me now.
No.
After. When Laurel is safe and Sebastian is in custody and we're not sitting in a car planning something that could get us both killed. He squeezed her hand. After. The promise hung between them. After. A future neither of them was certain they'd see. Effie's phone buzzed. A text from Mama. Be careful, baby. I love you. She typed back. Love you too. Always. Then turned to Curtis. Let's go get your daughter. The warehouse was exactly as threatening as Effie expected. Rusted metal, broken windows, shadows that seemed to breathe. Curtis walked through the main entrance alone, as instructed. Effie circled around back, heart hammering against her ribs. The plan required perfect timing. Required Sebastian to be exactly as arrogant as they hoped. Required luck they might not have. She found the back entrance, a loading dock door slightly ajar. Slipped inside. The interior was cavernous. Dark except for a pool of light in the center where Sebastian stood, Laurel in a chair beside him. The little girl was crying silently, tears streaming down her face, elephant clutched to her chest. Effie's vision went red. Curtis. Sebastian's voice echoed. Right on time. I appreciate punctuality. Curtis emerged from the shadows, hands visible, weaponless. Let her go. Let's not be hasty. Papers first. Sebastian pulled out a tablet. Sign here, here, and here. Transfer of ownership. Complete and irrevocable. I want to see her first. Make sure she's okay. Sebastian smiled. Of course. Laurel, sweetheart, say hello to Daddy. Laurel looked up, saw Curtis, and her face crumpled. Daddy, she whispered. I'm scared. I know, baby girl. But you're going to be okay. I promise. Curtis's voice was steady, but Effie could see his hands shaking. Mr. Quinn is going to let you go in just a minute. Actually, Sebastian said, I'm not. Curtis froze. We had a deal. We had negotiations. But deals require trust, and I don't trust you not to come after me the second your daughter is safe. Sebastian pulled out a gun, casual, like it was a phone. So, here's the new arrangement. You sign. Then you die. Unfortunately, in the ensuing struggle, little Laurel gets caught in the crossfire. Tragic. The stress of losing her mother finally drove you to, you're insane. I'm practical. Sebastian aimed the gun at Curtis.
Sign.
Or I shoot her first and make you watch. This was it. The moment. Effie pulled out her phone, pressed send on the message she'd prepared, and stepped into the light. Or option 3, she said. You drop the gun and surrender. Sebastian spun, gun swinging toward her.
Effie.
I was wondering when you'd show up. Curtis, you really should follow instructions better.
She's not part of this, Curtis said.
Let her. She's been part of this since birth. Sebastian's smile was vicious. Did you know, Curtis? Did she tell you? Curtis looked confused. Tell me what? About who she really is. Who her father was. Sebastian laughed. Vivian and her sister. Both pregnant at the same time. Both keeping such interesting secrets. Effie's stomach dropped. What are you talking about? Your mother lied about more than just having a sister. Sebastian's eyes glittered. Your father didn't die when you were a baby. He ran. Disappeared. Want to know why? Sebastian, Curtis warned. Don't. Because he embezzled $20 million from the company Curtis's father built. Vivian uncovered it while researching her sister's background. Found out your father was a thief, Effie. A criminal. Just like you. The words hit like punches. That's not true, Effie whispered. It is. Vivian kept it secret. Protected you and your mother. But she kept the evidence. Insurance, she called it. Sebastian's voice turned cruel. So you see, you're not the noble waitress with integrity. You're the daughter of a thief. It's in your blood. Effie's world tilted. Curtis stepped forward. Her father's crimes aren't hers. No? Then why did she really come to return that wallet, Curtis? Why did she really want to get close to you? Sebastian's smile widened. Maybe she knew exactly who you were. Maybe she's been playing you from the start. That's a lie, Effie said, but her voice shook. Curtis looked at her. Just looked. And Effie saw the doubt flicker in his eyes. Small. Barely there. But present. Curtis, no. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know any of this. Of course you'd say that, Sebastian purred. But can he really trust you? The woman who looks exactly like his dead wife. Who appeared in his life at the perfect moment. Who wormed her way into his daughter's heart. He laughed. It's too perfect. Too convenient. Isn't it, Curtis? Curtis's jaw worked. Effie would never. Wouldn't she? For money? For revenge against the company that destroyed her father? Sebastian moved closer to Laurel, gun now pointed at the child's head. How well do you really know her, Curtis? You met her today. Yesterday, Curtis said automatically. Semantics. Point is, you're trusting a stranger. A stranger with every reason to hate you. A stranger who might be working with me. The accusation hung in the air. Laurel looked at Effie with terrified, confused eyes. Effie, she whispered, you're not bad. You're nice. The faith in that small voice broke something in Effie's chest. I am nice, sweetheart, she said, voice thick. I promise. I'm here to help. Then prove it, Sebastian said. Grab the gun I left for you. On the crate behind you. Shoot Curtis. Do that, and I'll let the girl live. Might even cut you in on the profits. Effie turned. There was indeed a gun on the crate. Don't, Curtis said quietly. Effie looked at him. Saw the doubt still there. Saw the fear. Saw the man who'd lost his wife to betrayal, his company to betrayal, his best friend to betrayal. Saw someone who had every reason not to trust her, and none to believe her. Curtis, she said. I didn't know. About my father. About any of this. I just wanted to return your wallet. That's all. I swear on my mother's life. Words are cheap, Sebastian said. Actions matter. Pick up the gun, Effie. Show him what you really are. Effie's hand moved toward the weapon. Curtis tensed. Laurel whimpered. Effie's fingers closed around cold metal. That's it, Sebastian encouraged. Now turn around. Aim at Curtis. One shot, and this all ends. You'll be rich. Free. Everything you ever wanted. Effie turned. Raised the gun. Aimed it. Not at Curtis. At Sebastian. Here's what I want, she said, voice steady despite her racing heart. I want Laurel safe. I want you in prison. And I want Curtis to know that some people still keep their promises. She pulled the trigger. The gun clicked. Empty. Sebastian's laughter echoed through the warehouse. Did you really think I'd leave you a loaded weapon? God, you're as stupid as your father. But Effie was smiling. Did you really think I'd come here without backup? The warehouse doors burst open. Police flooded in, a dozen officers, guns drawn, shouting commands. Sebastian spun, confused. What? How? The USB drive had more than just evidence of your crimes, Curtis said, moving toward Laurel. It had Vivian's investigative notes, including the names of honest cops she'd vetted. Ones not on your payroll. Effie pulled out her phone, showed the message she'd sent 10 minutes ago. The complete evidence file, sent to every contact on Vivian's trusted list. You're done, Sebastian, she said. Sebastian's face twisted with rage. He swung his gun toward Laurel. Curtis was faster. He launched himself between the weapon and his daughter, tackling Sebastian, both men crashing to the ground. The gun went off. Someone screamed. Effie ran toward Laurel, grabbed her, shielded her with her body. Police swarmed Sebastian, dragging him off Curtis. Curtis lay on the ground, hand pressed to his side, blood seeping between his fingers. No, Effie's scream tore from her throat. She pressed Laurel into a police officer's arms. Take her, keep her safe, and dropped beside Curtis. You idiot, she sobbed, pressing her hands over his. You absolute idiot. Had to protect her, Curtis gasped. Had to. I know.
But you don't get to die.
You hear me? You don't get to tell me you have something to say after, and then die before after gets here. Curtis's lips quirked. Bossy. Shut up. Save your strength. Effie. His hand found hers, blood-slick and warm. I trust you. Never doubted. Just needed him to think I did. Tears blurred her vision. You're such a bad liar. I know. He coughed, winced. But I mean it now. I trust you. And I. Don't. Don't you dare say it now. You say it after. You promise me after. Paramedics arrived, pushing Effie aside, working on Curtis with efficient urgency. She stumbled back, watched them load him onto a stretcher. Watched them rush him toward the ambulance. Laurel broke free from the officer, ran to Effie, wrapped her arms around her waist. Is Daddy going to die? She asked, voice small and shattered. Effie wanted to lie, to comfort, but she'd promised herself no more lies. I don't know, baby, she whispered, but he's strong, and he's fighting, just like you fought to talk again. I want him to stay. Me too. They held each other in the flashing lights, two people who'd found each other in the worst possible way, watching the ambulance doors close on a man who'd become important to both of them. More important than Effie wanted to admit. As the ambulance pulled away, sirens wailing, Effie felt something break inside her chest. Not her walls, her heart. Because she'd done the unthinkable. She'd fallen in love with Curtis Wayne. And she might have just lost him before she could tell him. The hospital waiting room smelled like antiseptic and bad coffee. Effie sat with Laurel curled to her lap, the little girl finally asleep after 2 hours of tears and questions Effie couldn't answer. The police had taken their statements. Sebastian was in custody. The evidence was being processed. None of it mattered. Curtis was in surgery. Had been for 3 hours. Effie stared at the clock, watching seconds tick by with agonizing slowness. Mama arrived at midnight, oxygen tank in tow, moving slowly but determined. She took one look at Effie's face and settled into the chair beside her. He'll make it, Mama said quietly. You don't know that. I know he's got something to live for. Mama nodded at Laurel. 2 somethings, actually. Effie's throat tightened. Mama, I know, baby. Mama took her hand. I see the way you look at him. Same way Vivian used to look at him in the photos she showed me. Like he hung the moon. I barely know him. Sometimes that's all it takes. One day, one moment, one choice that changes everything. Mama squeezed her fingers. Your daddy and I knew in 3 hours. Vivian and Curtis knew in one interview. Time doesn't matter when it's right. What if it's not right? What if Sebastian was telling the truth about my father? Mama's expression shuddered. He was. The confirmation hit like a physical blow. Your father did steal from Curtis's family company. Did run away. Did leave us with nothing. Mama's voice was steady but sad. I lied because I was ashamed. Because I didn't want you carrying that weight. But Sebastian was right about one thing. Blood doesn't determine who you are. Your father's choices don't define you. But they do. Don't you see? Curtis's family lost money because of my father. The company almost went under. Curtis had to fight to rebuild what my father destroyed. Effie's voice broke. How can anything between us be real when that's our history? Because you're not your father. And Curtis isn't his father. Mama turned Effie's face toward her. You brought back his wallet when you needed that money desperately. You risked your life to save his daughter. You chose integrity over everything else. That's who you are. That's what matters. Tears spilled down Effie's cheeks. What if he can't see past it? Then he's not the man I think he is. Before Effie could respond, Paulette rushed through the waiting room doors, eyes red-rimmed. I came as soon as I heard. How is he? Still in surgery. Effie shifted Laurel gently. Paulette, I'm so sorry. Sebastian threatened you, I know. None of this is your fault. Paulette's face crumpled. I should have fought harder. Should have protected her better. You protected your grandchildren. That's what you were supposed to do. Effie stood. Let Paulette take her seat. Can you watch Laurel? I need some air. Paulette nodded, gathering the sleeping child carefully. Effie walked to the vending machines, punched the button for coffee she wouldn't drink, just needed to move, needed to breathe, needed. Effie Dawes. She turned. A woman stood there, 50s, professional, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. I'm Dr. Patricia Reeves. I was Laurel's therapist. Before. She gestured vaguely. Before she stopped talking. Yes. Dr. Reeves hesitated. I heard what happened tonight. Heard Laurel spoke. I had to come see for myself if it was true. It is. She's been talking since yesterday.
To me, mostly.
But she's talking. Dr. Reeves's eyes filled with tears. That's remarkable. I worked with her for 18 months. Tried everything. And in one day I didn't do anything special. Just listened. That's more special than you know. Dr. Reeves pulled out a folder. This is highly irregular, but given the circumstances, Vivian left something with me. Before she died. Said if anything happened to her, I should give it to whoever helped Laurel speak again. Effie's hands shook as she took the folder. She knew someone would help Laurel. She hoped. Said she had a sister who would understand. Who would know how to reach a grieving child because she'd been one herself. Dr. Reeves smiled softly. She meant your mother, but I think she'd be glad it was you. The doctor left. Effie opened the folder. Inside was a letter, handwritten, dated 3 days before Vivian's death. To whoever loves my daughter enough to bring her back. If you're reading this, I'm gone. And my beautiful Laurel has been silent for too long.
I'm sorry.
Sorry I couldn't protect her. Sorry I chose truth over safety. Sorry I left her. But I don't regret the investigation. Someone needed to expose Sebastian's crimes. Someone needed to stand up. Even when it was dangerous. I suspect my sister will keep Effie away from Curtis. It's what I asked her to do. But if somehow, through fate or chance or sheer determination, Effie finds her way to my family anyway, please tell her this. Her father's mistakes are not her burden to carry. She is brave and strong and worthy of love. And if Curtis has any sense at all, he'll see what I saw in the photos my sister showed me. A woman who inherited her mother's heart, not her father's weakness. Tell Effie to forgive herself for things she didn't do. Tell Curtis to forgive himself for things he couldn't prevent. Tell Laurel her mother loved her more than life itself. And tell all of them that love, real, messy, complicated love, is worth fighting for. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. With hope. Vivian. Effie's tears fell onto the page, smudging ink. Vivian had known. Somehow, she'd known that Effie and Curtis would find each other. Had believed they deserved happiness. Had given them permission to try. Effie. She turned. Curtis stood in the hallway, hospital gown slightly crooked, one hand pressed to his bandaged side, skin pale but eyes clear.
Alive.
Awake. Here. You're supposed to be in recovery, she said, voice thick. I was. They wanted me to stay. I told them I needed to see someone first. He moved slowly, each step clearly painful. Had to tell her something I promised I'd say after. Effie's heart hammered. Curtis, you should rest. Whatever it is can wait. It's waited long enough. He stopped in front of her, close enough that she could feel his warmth. I love you. The words hung in the sterile hallway like a miracle. You're on pain medication, Effie whispered. You don't know what you're saying. I'm on minimal medication because I refused more until I could think clearly. And I'm thinking very clearly. Curtis lifted his hand, cupped her face gently. I love you, Effie Dawes. Daughter of a thief. Waitress with integrity. Woman who risked everything to save my daughter. I love you, and I don't care about our history, or our circumstances, or the fact that we met yesterday. It's been 2 days. Semantics. His thumb brushed away her tears. I love you. And I needed you to know before I passed out, which I'm probably going to do in about 30 seconds. You're an idiot, Effie sobbed. You've mentioned that. I love you too. Curtis's smile was brilliant, beautiful, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you're stubborn and controlling, and you have terrible timing. We have terrible timing, he corrected, but I'm planning to make up for it.
How?
By doing this. He kissed her. Soft and careful and full of promise. Effie kissed him back, tasting salt and hope and futures neither of them had dared imagine yesterday. When they pulled apart, Curtis swayed. Okay, he admitted. Maybe I am about to pass out. Back to bed.
Now.
Bossy. You like it. I really do. Effie got him back to his room, helped him into bed, watched the nurses fuss over him with stern looks about leaving post-surgery. Curtis ignored them, eyes locked on Effie.
Stay, he said.
The same word Laurel had used. The word that changed everything. I'm not going anywhere, Effie promised. She settled into the chair beside his bed, held his hand while he fought to keep his eyes open. Tell Laurel I'm okay, he murmured. Tell her Daddy's coming home. I will. Tell her you're coming home too. Effie's breath caught. Curtis. Move in with us. You and your mother. The house is huge. Paulette needs help. Laurel needs you. I need you. His eyes were closing, words slurring. We're a family. Weird, complicated, built in 2 days family. But family. You're definitely on pain medication. But still right. He squeezed her hand. Say you'll think about it. Effie looked at him. This impossible man who'd appeared in her life like a storm, and felt something settle in her chest.
Peace.
I'll think about it, she whispered. Curtis smiled and finally let sleep take him. Effie sat in the quiet room, holding the hand of the man she loved, and pulled out her phone. The text from Mama read, Laurel woke up. She's asking for both of you. Says her family's not complete without you. Effie's vision blurred. She texted back. Tell her I'm not going anywhere. Tell her we're all coming home. Mama's response was immediate. About time, baby.
About time.
Effie looked at Curtis, peaceful in sleep. Thought about Vivian's letter. Thought about a little girl who'd been silent for 2 years, waiting for someone to hear her. Thought about how sometimes the worst circumstances lead to the most beautiful new beginnings. And realized that returning a wallet hadn't just been the right thing to do. It had been the thing that saved them all. Family.
Love.
Hope. I'm not crying, you're crying. Comment below if you believe in second chances and love that shows up when you least expect it. 3 weeks later, Effie stood outside the courthouse, Laurel's hand in hers, watching news vans circle like vultures. The trial had been swift. Sebastian's arrogance had been his downfall. He'd kept meticulous records of every crime, convinced he'd never be caught. The evidence Vivian gathered, combined with what prosecutors found in his files, painted a picture of corruption so vast it made headlines worldwide. Today was sentencing. Curtis emerged from the building, flanked by lawyers, and immediately found Effie and Laurel in the crowd. His smile was tired but genuine. 30 years, he said quietly, reaching them. No parole. Effie exhaled. It's over. Not quite. Curtis looked back at the courthouse. There's someone who wants to see you. Both of you. Who? Sebastian. Effie's stomach clenched. Why would we? He says he has information. About Vivian. About your father. Curtis's jaw tightened. I told him to go to hell, but his lawyer insists it's important. Something Vivian would want you to know. Laurel tugged Effie's hand. I don't want to see the bad man. You don't have to, sweetheart. Effie crouched down. Paulette's right over there. She brought snacks. Why don't you go with her while I handle this? Laurel hesitated then. You'll come back? Always. Promise. Promise. Laurel ran to Paulette, who scooped her up with the ease of someone who'd been doing it for weeks now. Since moving into the Wayne house, both Effie and Mama, just as Curtis had asked, Paulette and Mama had become unlikely friends, tag-teaming Laurel's care and trading recipes and stories. The house had come alive again. Curtis took Effie's hand. You don't have to do this. I know. But if there's something about Vivian, don't you want to know?
He did.
She could see it in his eyes. They went inside. The meeting room was small, sterile, divided by glass. Sebastian sat on the other side, orange jumpsuit a far cry from his $1,000 suits. He looked smaller, diminished, but his eyes still held that cruel intelligence. Curtis.
Effie.
How domestic. Sebastian's smile was a slash. Heard you're playing house. How sweet. You have 5 minutes, Curtis said coldly. Then I'm gone, and you never hear from me again. Fair enough. Sebastian leaned forward. I didn't kill Vivian. The words dropped like bombs. Curtis went rigid. You confessed. I confessed to money laundering, fraud, embezzlement. Never to murder. Check the records. Sebastian's expression was almost amused. I tampered with her brakes, yes. Meant to scare her into backing off. But the actual crash? That wasn't supposed to happen that day on that road, in that weather. Effie's blood went cold. What are you saying? I'm saying someone else wanted her dead too. Someone who used my sabotage as cover for their own agenda. Sebastian pulled out a piece of paper. His lawyer must have cleared it, and pressed it against the glass. Vivian's last article. The one she never published. Found it in her files when I was cleaning up loose ends. Curtis grabbed his phone, took a photo of the paper. The headline read, The Haywood Connection, How One Family Built an Empire on Stolen Lives. Haywood. Effie's breath stopped. That's my mother's maiden name, she whispered. And your father's surname. And the name of the family that owned half of New York before they mysteriously lost everything 30 years ago. Sebastian's smile widened. Vivian discovered that your father didn't just embezzle money, Effie. He was stealing back what was stolen from his family first. The room spun. What? Curtis looked between them. What are you talking about? Sebastian sat back. Curtis's father, the great Jonathan Wayne, built his fortune by systematically destroying the Haywood family business. Legal but ruthless. Bought out their properties for pennies during the recession, hired away their key people, spread rumors that tanked their stock. By the time he was done, the Haywoods were bankrupt. That's business, Curtis said, but his voice wavered. It's theft in a suit, Sebastian countered. Effie's father worked for your father, Curtis. Saw what he'd done. Decided to take back what he felt was owed. $20 million, the exact amount Jonathan Wayne profited from destroying the Haywoods. Effie felt sick. My father was a thief. Your father was desperate. Angry. Maybe even right, depending on your perspective. Sebastian's eyes glittered. But here's the twist, Effie. Your father? He wasn't going to keep the money. Vivian found evidence that he planned to distribute it to all the families Jonathan Wayne destroyed. He was Robin Hood, not a criminal. Then why did he run? Curtis demanded. Because someone found out. Someone who couldn't let the truth about Jonathan Wayne come out. Someone who... Sebastian paused dramatically. Someone who killed your father, Effie. Made it look like he abandoned you. And when Vivian figured it out, they killed her too. The glass wall between them might as well have been a chasm. Who? Effie's voice broke. Who killed them? Sebastian smiled. That's the question, isn't it? Vivian was close to the answer. She'd narrowed it down to 3 people who were in Jonathan Wayne's inner circle. One of them is still alive. Still powerful. Still very interested in keeping the past buried. Curtis's hands curled into fists. Give me the name.
Can't.
Don't have it. Vivian died before she could confirm. Sebastian stood. But I can tell you this, whoever it is knows about you too. Knows you're digging into the past. And they won't stop until you're both silenced. You're lying, Curtis said. This is another game. Maybe. Or maybe I'm a bastard who wants to watch the world burn, even from prison. Sebastian's smile was vicious. Either way, you might want to watch your back. History has a way of repeating itself. Car accidents, sudden illnesses, unfortunate coincidences. His gaze slid to Effie. Your mother's getting worse, isn't she? Such a shame. Heart conditions are so unpredictable. Curtis lunged at the glass. Guards moved immediately, restraining him. Sebastian laughed. 5 minutes are up. Enjoy your happy ending while it lasts. Outside, Curtis paced like a caged animal while Effie sat on a bench, mind reeling. He's lying, Curtis said. He has to be lying. What if he's not? Then we deal with it. I'll hire security. Triple what we have. No one gets near you or Laurel or your mother without clearance. Curtis. Effie stood, grabbed his arms. Listen to yourself. You're talking about living in a fortress. If that's what it takes to keep you safe.
No.
Her voice was firm. We're not doing this. We're not letting Sebastian or whoever else is out there control our lives with fear. Effie, if someone killed my father, your father, Vivian, then we expose them. We finish what Vivian started. Effie pulled out her phone. We have her research. We have the article. We have 3 names. We investigate, we find the truth, and we bring it into the light. Curtis stared at her. That's dangerous. So is living in fear. Effie met his eyes. Vivian died trying to expose the truth. My father died trying to make things right. We owe it to them to finish this, to make sure their deaths meant something. What about Laurel? What about keeping her safe? We keep her safe by ending this. Once and for all. Effie's voice softened. You taught me that. When you put yourself between her and Sebastian's gun. You didn't hide. You fought. That's what we do now. Curtis searched her face. Found steel beneath the softness. You're sure? I'm terrified. But I'm sure. He pulled her close, pressed his forehead to hers. Then we do it together.
Together.
They stood like that for a long moment, drawing strength from each other. Then Curtis pulled back. I need to make some calls. Starting with the FBI. The FBI? If this is as big as Sebastian claims, we need federal involvement. People we can trust. He was already dialing. And I'm calling in every favor I'm owed. Investigators, journalists, lawyers. We're going to tear this open so wide, no one can hide. Effie watched him transform from grieving widower to warrior. This was the man who built an empire. And he was about to use every ounce of that power to protect his family. Over the next week, things moved fast. The FBI opened an investigation based on Vivian's research. Curtis hired a team of private investigators to track down the 3 names on Vivian's list. Effie spent hours poring over files, looking for connections, patterns, anything that might reveal the truth. Mama's health stabilized with the new treatments Curtis's doctors provided. She moved through the house with her oxygen tank, offering wisdom and sweet tea in equal measure. Laurel bloomed, talking constantly now, telling stories, asking questions, slowly healing from her trauma. And Effie and Curtis grew closer, their relationship forged in crisis, but deepening into something real. Something lasting. One evening, Curtis found Effie in his office, their office now, surrounded by papers. It's him, she said without preamble. I found him. Curtis moved behind her.
Who?
Richard Moore. Your father's former business partner. The one who retired 30 years ago and moved to the Cayman Islands. Effie pointed at the documents. Vivian tracked his finances. He's been receiving payments. Large ones. From a shell corporation connected to Curtis. He's been paying himself with money stolen from the Haywood Family Trust. Curtis went pale. Richard. He was at my wedding. Sent gifts when Laurel was born. I trusted him. And he's been stealing from me the entire time. Look, he's still on the Wayne Industries board. Still has access to accounts. He's the one who helped Sebastian set up the money laundering operation. Sebastian was just the visible partner. Curtis pulled out his phone. I'm calling Agent Morrison. Wait. Effie grabbed his hand. We need leverage. If we just report him, he'll run. He has resources, connections. We need something that forces him to confess. Like what? Effie smiled slowly. Like a meeting. You, him, and a recording device. Curtis looked at her with something like awe. You're brilliant. I'm strategic. There's a difference. I love you. I love you too. Now, let's catch a murderer. The meeting was set for neutral ground, a restaurant Richard chose, public enough to feel safe, private enough for confidential business discussions. Curtis wore a wire. FBI agents positioned themselves throughout the restaurant. Effie waited in a van outside with Agent Morrison, listening to every word. Curtis. Richard's voice came through warm, friendly. So good to see you, my boy. How's Laurel?
She's well. Talking now.
It's been healing. I heard. Wonderful news. And this woman you've been seeing? The waitress.
Effie.
We're together. Seriously together. Fast work. When you know, you know. Curtis paused. Actually, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Effie's been helping me go through Vivian's research. Silence. Then, what research? Her investigation. The one she was working on when she died. You remember, the piece about my father's business practices? Vaguely. Richard's voice had cooled. Curtis, why are we really here? Because I found something interesting. Evidence that my father didn't build his fortune alone. That he had help. A partner who identified targets, orchestrated the takedowns, profited from the destruction. That's ancient history. It is. Until that same partner helped cover up a murder. Then another. Then tried to kill my wife when she got too close to the truth. The silence stretched. Curtis, Richard said carefully. You're making serious accusations. I'm stating facts. Effie's father, Thomas Haywood, didn't abandon his family. He was murdered by someone who couldn't let him expose what Jonathan Wayne had done. Someone who had as much to lose as my father did. You can't prove that. I can. Vivian could. That's why you killed her. I didn't. Richard stopped. You're wearing a wire. I am. Movement. Sounds of a scuffle. SIT down, Curtis commanded. It's over, Richard. The FBI has everything. Your shell corporations, your offshore accounts, your communications with Sebastian. They have Vivian's complete investigation. And they have Thomas Haywood's body. Effie's head snapped up. They found him. Agent Morrison nodded grimly. Excavated from a construction site 3 days ago. We kept it quiet. Through the wire, Richard's voice came out broken. He was going to ruin everything. All Jonathan's hard work. All my careful planning. I couldn't let him destroy us. So you killed him. I had no choice. He threatened to go public, to expose us, to... Richard was crying now. I never meant for Vivian to get involved. Tried to warn her off. But she wouldn't listen. Just like her father-in-law.
Stubborn.
Righteous. Stupid. But you're the one going to prison, Curtis said quietly. For the rest of your life. Agents moved in. Effie heard Richard's protests, his pleas, his desperate attempts to bargain. Heard Curtis's cold response. You killed my wife. The mother of my child. There's no bargain. No mercy. Just justice. Later that night, back at the house, Effie found Curtis in Laurel's room, watching their daughter sleep. It's really over, she said softly. It is. He turned, pulled her close. Richard confessed to everything. Your father's murder, sabotaging Vivian's car, even trying to manipulate Sebastian into taking the fall. He's done. And your father's legacy? Curtis was quiet for a moment. Complicated. He did terrible things. Built his empire on others' ruin. But he looked at Laurel. He also built something that can do good. Wayne Industries employs thousands. Funds scholarships, medical research, community programs. I can't change what he did, but I can change what we do going forward. Curtis turned to face her fully. I've been thinking. The Haywood family lost everything because of my father. I can't give back what was taken, but I can create something new. A foundation. In your father's name and Vivian's. Dedicated to exposing corruption, protecting whistleblowers, helping families destroyed by corporate greed. Tears filled Effie's eyes. Curtis. It's what Vivian would want. What your father deserves. And what our daughter should inherit. Not just wealth, but a legacy of doing what's right, even when it's hard. Our daughter. The words settled into Effie's heart like coming home. I want to marry you, Curtis said suddenly. I know it's fast. I know we've only known each other 3 weeks. I know every logical reason to wait. But I don't want to wait. I want you in my life, in Laurel's life. Permanently. Legally. Completely. Effie's heart hammered. Curtis. You don't have to answer now. Think about it. Take all the time you need. But know that I'm sure. More sure than I've ever been about anything. Effie looked at this impossible man who'd become her everything. Thought about a lost wallet and a little girl's first words. Thought about Vivian's letter. Love is worth fighting for. Thought about choosing integrity over ease, truth over comfort, love over fear. Yes, she said. Curtis blinked. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes, I want this life. Yes to all of it. Effie pulled him down, kissed him softly. Because you're right.
When you know, you know.
And I know. His smile was everything. Yeah. Yeah. Curtis kissed her again, deeper this time, full of promise and passion and futures they'd build together. When they pulled apart, Laurel's sleepy voice came from the bed. Are you going to be my mommy now? They turned. Laurel sat up, rubbing her eyes, smiling hopefully. Effie moved to the bed, sat beside her. Would you like that?
Yes.
Because you promised you wouldn't leave. And mommies don't leave. Some mommies have to, Effie said gently. Like your first mommy. She didn't want to leave you. But sometimes things happen that we can't control. But you won't leave on purpose? Never on purpose. I promise. Laurel threw her arms around Effie's neck. Good. Because I love you. Effie held her close, this precious child who'd found her voice and her smile and her trust again. I love you too, sweetheart. So much. Curtis joined them on the bed, wrapping his arms around both of them. And Effie realized, sitting in this room, holding this family, feeling more complete than she ever had, that everything had led to this moment. Every hardship, every choice, every act of integrity, all of it had brought her here. Home. 6 months later, Effie stood in front of the mirror, barely recognizing herself. The wedding dress was simple, ivory silk, elegant lines, nothing ostentatious. But it was hers. Chosen with Mama and Laurel on a day full of laughter and happy tears, and the kind of joy Effie had once thought was reserved for other people. People who weren't waitresses from Queens. People who didn't have dying mothers and unpaid bills and dreams they'd stopped dreaming years ago. But that woman, the one who'd walked into Wayne Tower 6 months ago with a wallet and a heart full of integrity, had transformed into someone new. Not because of money or status or marrying a billionaire, but because she'd chosen to stay, to fight, to love. And in doing so, had found herself. You look beautiful, baby. Mama sat in the corner of the dressing room, oxygen tank absent for the first time in years. The experimental treatment Curtis's doctors had arranged, combined with the surgery she'd finally received, had given her a new lease on life. Color had returned to her cheeks, strength to her movements, hope to her eyes. I still can't believe this is happening, Effie admitted, smoothing the dress. Believe it. You deserve every bit of happiness coming your way. Mama stood, moved to her daughter, took her hands. Your father would be so proud. Not because you're marrying wealth, but because you stayed true to who you are, even when it was hard. Effie's throat tightened. I wish he was here.
He is.
In the foundation you and Curtis built. In the families you're helping. In the legacy you're creating. Mama squeezed her hands. Thomas Haywood's name means something good now. Because of you. A knock at the door interrupted them. Laurel burst in, flower girl dress a cloud of purple tulle, her favorite color, face glowing with excitement. Is it time? Is it time yet? She bounced on her toes. Daddy's waiting and he looks so handsome and everyone's here, and she stopped, seeing Effie. Her mouth formed a perfect O. You look like a princess. Effie laughed. You think so? I know so. The prettiest princess ever. Laurel ran to her, careful of the dress. Are you nervous? A little. Don't be. Daddy loves you so much. He told me this morning that marrying you is the best decision he's ever made. He did.
Yep.
Right after he almost cried putting on his tie. Laurel giggled. Uncle Paulette had to help him. Effie smiled at the nickname Laurel had given Paulette, the housekeeper who'd become family, who'd cried just as hard as anyone when Curtis proposed officially, who'd planned this wedding with the precision of a military operation and the love of a grandmother. Is my girl ready? They turned. Shanice stood in the doorway, resplendent in her bridesmaid dress, eyes already wet. She'd been the first person Effie called after saying yes. The friend who'd covered her shifts, who'd told her she was crazy, who'd shown up anyway because that's what family did. I think so, Effie said. Good. Because there's about 200 people out there waiting to watch you marry the man who looked at you like you hung the moon from day one. Shanice moved closer. Girl, I knew. When you called me from that office, telling me you quit, I knew something had shifted. You sounded different.
Alive.
I was terrified. Best things in life are terrifying. Shanice hugged her carefully. Now, let's get you married. The ceremony was held in the garden of the Wayne estate, transformed into something magical. White flowers everywhere, string lights wrapped around trees, chairs filled with people from every part of Effie and Curtis's lives. Employees from Shirley's Cafe sat next to Fortune 500 executives. Families helped by the Haywood Wayne Foundation sat next to board members. Mama's church friends sat next to Curtis's business associates. Two worlds merged into one. As Effie walked down the aisle, Mama on one side, Shanice on the other, both supporting her, she saw Curtis at the altar. And her breath caught. He looked devastatingly handsome in his tuxedo. But it was his expression that undid her. Raw love, fierce devotion, barely controlled emotion. This powerful man, reduced to tears by the sight of her. When she reached him, he took her hands, and she felt him trembling. Hi, he whispered. Hi, she whispered back. The officiant began speaking, but Effie barely heard the words. She was lost in Curtis's eyes, in this moment, in the absolute certainty that this was right. When it came time for vows, Curtis spoke first. Effie, 6 months ago, you walked into my life and changed everything. You gave my daughter her voice back. You gave me hope when I'd forgotten what it felt like. You showed me that integrity and courage and love aren't abstract concepts. They're choices we make every day, even when those choices are hard. His voice cracked. You chose to return a wallet when you desperately needed the money. You chose to stay for a child you'd just met. You chose to love me even knowing our complicated history. Every choice you've made has been the right one. And I promise to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret choosing me. Tears streamed down Effie's face. Then it was her turn. Curtis, I used to think my life was small, insignificant, that I was just surviving, not living. Then I found your wallet, and you accused me of theft. The crowd laughed. And somewhere between that awful first meeting and now, you showed me that life isn't about the size of your world. It's about the depth of your love. You love Laurel with everything you have. You loved Vivian enough to honor her memory by seeking truth. You love your family, your employees, people you've never met through the foundation. And somehow, impossibly, you love me. She squeezed his hands. I promise to love you just as fiercely. To choose you every day. To build this beautiful, complicated, amazing life with you. Forever. Curtis pulled her close, kissed her before the officiant could pronounce them married. No one cared. The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Laurel ran forward, wrapped her arms around both of them. We're a family now, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. A real family. We've been a real family for a while, sweetheart, Curtis said, lifting her up. But now it's official. Does this mean Effie is really my mommy? If she wants to be. Laurel looked at Effie with those expressive eyes. Do you want to be? Effie's heart was so full she thought it might burst. More than anything, Laurel beamed. Good. Because I already made you a Mother's Day card for next year. Everyone laughed, cried, celebrated. The reception was a blur of joy. Speeches that were heartfelt and hilarious. dancing that ranged from elegant to ridiculous, food that Paulette had overseen personally, making sure every detail was perfect. But Effie's favorite moment came late in the evening when she found Mama sitting with Dr. Reeves, Laurel's former therapist, now a friend, both women deep in conversation. "Everything okay?" Effie asked, sliding into the chair beside her mother. "More than okay." Mama's smile was radiant. "Dr. Reeves was just telling me about a program she's starting. Therapy for children who've lost parents. She wants to use Laurel's story, with your permission, to show that healing is possible." Dr. Reeves nodded. "Laurel's transformation has been remarkable. Not just that she's talking, but that she's thriving. And it's because of the love and stability you and Curtis provided. That's a powerful example." "We didn't do anything special," Effie protested. "You did everything special," Dr. Reeves countered. "You showed up. You stayed. You loved her unconditionally. That's what heals trauma. Not expensive therapy or medications, though those help, but genuine, consistent love." Effie looked across the room where Curtis danced with Laurel, both laughing as he spun her around. "She healed us too," Effie said softly. "We were all broken, all grieving, all lost, and somehow we found each other." "That's what family does," Mama said, taking her hand. "Finds each other, heals each other, becomes more together than they ever were apart." Later, when the party wound down and guests departed, Effie and Curtis stood on the terrace, the same terrace where they'd had their first real conversation, where they discovered the photograph, where everything had shifted. "Happy?" Curtis asked, arms wrapped around her from behind. Deliriously. Effie leaned back against him. "You? I didn't think I could be this happy again. After Vivian." He paused. "I thought that chapter of my life was closed, that I'd had my chance at love and lost it. And now I know that love doesn't run out. It multiplies. I love Vivian. Always will. She gave me Laurel, helped me build my life, taught me so much." Curtis turned Effie to face him. "And I love you. Differently, but just as deeply. You taught me that integrity matters more than success. That family is who you choose, not just who you're born to. That second chances are real." Effie touched his face. "We're going to have a good life. The best life. Even when it's hard? Especially when it's hard." Curtis kissed her forehead. "Because we'll face it together." Movement caught their attention. Laurel appeared in the doorway, wearing pajamas, clutching her elephant. "Can't sleep?" Effie asked. Laurel shook her head. "Too excited. My brain won't stop thinking about everything." Curtis picked her up. "What's it thinking about?" "About how I have a mommy again. And how our family is whole."
"And how?"
She looked between them seriously. "How maybe I could have a brother or sister someday." Effie and Curtis exchanged glances. "Maybe someday," Curtis said carefully. "Would you like that?"
"Yes."
"Because families should be big and loud, and full of people who love each other." Laurel yawned. "That's what Miss Paulette says." "Miss Paulette is very wise," Effie said, taking Laurel from Curtis. "But right now, this little girl needs sleep." She carried Laurel inside, Curtis following, and together they tucked her into bed. "Tell me the story," Laurel requested sleepily. "About how you and Daddy met." It had become a bedtime ritual. The story of the wallet, told and retold, growing more elaborate each time. "Once upon a time," Effie began, "there was a waitress who found something that didn't belong to her." She told the story, their story, while Curtis sat beside her, holding her hand. Told it until Laurel's eyes closed and her breathing evened out. Then they sat there a moment longer, watching their daughter sleep, marveling at how far they'd all come. "Thank you," Curtis whispered. "For what?" "For being honest. For returning the wallet. For choosing integrity over easy money." He looked at her. "For choosing us. Best choice I ever made." They turned off the light, left the door cracked, and walked to their own room. Their room now, everything shared, everything united. As they got ready for bed, Effie caught sight of a framed photograph on the dresser. Curtis had put it there weeks ago. It showed Mama and Vivian, pregnant and smiling, sisters who'd been separated by circumstance, but whose love had created something beautiful. Because Vivian's investigation, her courage, her sacrifice, it had led to this. To justice for the families destroyed by corporate greed. To a foundation helping hundreds of people. To two broken families healing each other. To love rising from loss. She'd be happy, Effie said, touching the frame. Vivian. She'd be happy we found each other. I think so too. Curtis came up behind her. I think she orchestrated the whole thing from wherever she is. Made sure that wallet ended up exactly where it needed to be. Made sure you found it. Made sure we found each other. You think she's watching? I know she is. And I think she's smiling. Effie turned in his arms. I'm going to make you so happy, Curtis Wayne. You already do. Every single day. He kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. And Effie thought about the woman she'd been 6 months ago, exhausted, worried, barely surviving. Thought about the choice to return a wallet. One choice. One moment of integrity. That changed everything. 1 year later, Effie stood at a podium in front of hundreds of people, the Haywood Wayne Foundation's first annual gala in full swing. My father made mistakes, she said, voice steady despite her nerves. But his biggest mistake wasn't what he did. It was that he did it alone. He thought he had to fix everything by himself. Thought asking for help was weakness. She looked at Curtis, standing in the front row with Laurel, who was now 7 and thriving, reading at an advanced level, making friends, living fully. I almost made the same mistake. Thought I had to handle everything myself. My mother's illness, our bills, our survival. Then I found a wallet and a man who taught me that asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The crowd listened, rapt. This foundation exists because 2 people, my father and Vivian Wayne, believed in truth and justice enough to die for it. We honor them by living for it, by helping families in crisis, by exposing corruption, by standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. Effie's voice strengthened. So far, we've helped 300 families, funded 50 investigations, brought down 12 corrupt operations, and we're just getting started. The applause was thunderous. After her speech, as the gala continued, Effie found a quiet corner. Curtis found her there. You were magnificent, he said. I was terrified. Didn't show. He pulled her close. I'm proud of you. Who you are. Who you're becoming. We're becoming it together. Effie smiled. That's the best part. Laurel ran up, face flushed with excitement. Mommy. Daddy. Grandma says to come quick. She has news. They followed her to where Mama sat with Paulette, both women grinning like conspirators. What's going on? Curtis asked. Mama held up an envelope. I got accepted. To the volunteer program at the Children's Hospital. They want me to read to the kids in the cancer ward. Effie's eyes filled with tears. Mama, that's wonderful. Figured since I got a second chance at life, I should use it to help others get theirs. Mama's smile was radiant. Besides, someone taught me that integrity means doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Wonder where you learned that, Curtis said, winking at Effie. From the best teacher. Mama looked at her daughter with infinite love. My baby girl, who changed the world by doing one small, right thing. Effie hugged her mother, overwhelmed with gratitude. For second chances. For family, blood, and chosen. For love that healed. For a life built on integrity, courage, and choice. Come on, Laurel said, tugging their hands. Let's dance. All of us. Family dance. So they did. All of them. Curtis, Effie, Laurel, Mama, Paulette, moving together on the dance floor, laughing and celebrating and living fully in this beautiful, impossible, perfect moment. And Effie thought about that wallet, about the choice to return it, about how one act of integrity had led to everything good in her life. Love, family, purpose, home. She caught Curtis's eye across the circle they'd formed. He mouthed, I love you. She mouthed back, forever. And knew, with absolute certainty that this was just the beginning. The best was yet to come.
The end.
Oh my goodness. We made it. What a journey. If this story touched your heart, please drop a comment below telling me your favorite moment. Was it when Laurel first spoke? The proposal? The wedding? I want to hear everything. And listen, if you enjoyed the story, you need to subscribe to this channel. We have so many more incredible stories coming your way. Stories about love, redemption, second chances, and the power of doing what's right even when it's hard. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and share this story with someone who needs to be reminded that integrity, courage, and love can change everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for reading. Thank you for being part of this beautiful community. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories reach. Until next time, remember, sometimes the smallest choice, like returning a lost wallet, can change your entire life.
Stay blessed. Stay strong.
And keep choosing integrity. See you in the next story.